Hello quiet ones, welcome back, missed you too. I hope you remember to click that thumbs up button and the subscribe as well. Plus I hope you enjoyed today's video. I stepped closer but stayed out of the brother's way. The flashlight beam rested on a pile of ancient yellow bones. Get off me! Terry shoved Tom's hand away. You know what I'm doing. Yeah, steal another bone and the Cleaves will come take it right. Then what? Terry was practically crying. Then I'll make her tell me why she killed Mom. How's that going to work, idiot? You're gonna be asleep when she comes. What if you mess up and lie to her, huh? What then? She'll chop your head off too. Tears were welling from Tom's eyes now as well. Then you do it. I'm not that crazy. No, you're just a friggin' coward. I'll do it, I said softly. What? The brothers stopped, turning to me in unison. In their defense, both tried to talk me out of it, but I was resolved. Part of it was that I still wasn't completely sure this wasn't just some enormously elaborate prank that the brothers had decided to pull on me. Partly I wanted to see if the legend was true, but the main reason I ill-advisedly took a small finger bone from the witch's burned out cellar was I wanted to help my new friends. Walking back to their house, we came up with our plan. We discussed if it made more sense for me to stay with them that night, but decided I'd have to stay in my room to make sure old Mother Cleaver would come. Tom and Terry had never heard of anyone being killed in a bed other than their own. And if there was going to be a confrontation, we wanted it to be when we were ready for it. We decided that after their dad left for work that night, the boys would come over and hide in my yard. We spent a lot of time discussing if we should rake some kind of booby traps, but ultimately ruled against anything that might make the Cleaves decide to wait and come another night. Tom had a heavy practice bat he would bring, and Terry was dead-eye with his wrist slingshot. I'd go to bed around 11, same as always, the bone resting on my nightstand. After that, we would simply see what happened. I had always been honest growing up. My dad had been sure to instill that in me. But I was still a little nervous how I would respond half asleep. The rest of the day was a blur. Finally it was time to go home. I ate dinner with my mom after she finally got home from work, and if she noticed I was unusually quiet, she didn't say anything. It seemed like she had a lot on her mind too. I sat next to her on the couch and watched TV for a while, though I wasn't really paying attention, until at last the wall clock said it was about time for bed. I stooped over to give her a hug, and abruptly felt tears spring to my eyes as I realized this could be the last time I saw her. What the hell had I been thinking earlier? Why had I agreed to this? The bone, suddenly extremely heavy in my pocket, reminded me it was too late to back out now. Old Mother Cleaver, if she was real, would be coming either way. I love you, Mom, I said softly. I love you too, baby, she smiled. Sleep tight. I went to my room to change, brushed my teeth, and put the bone on the nightstand. I eyed the dark space beneath the bed, forcibly willing myself not to look. Was the Cleaves already there? waiting for me to go to sleep. I moved to the open window and saw a light flash twice. The signal Tom and Terry were in position. Now all we needed was for me to fall asleep. I don't know how long I lay there in my bed that night. I'd been worried that with the fear and excitement I wouldn't be able to nod off. But the next thing I knew, I was startled awake when a heavy weight settled next to me on my mattress. Shh. It's okay, honey. It's okay, my mom shushed. I just wanted to check on you. Sorry I was distracted tonight. You okay? You seemed a little off at dinner. My heart leapt into my throat before I confirmed that it was, in fact, my mother. It was dark in my room, but there was enough light streaming through the window from the moon that I could tell it was her. Certainly not an enraged witch ready to chop my head off. I'm okay, Mom. You seemed weird too. Is it something with Dad? She shook her head. No, we are fine. We still don't know what we're going to do permanently. But it's work that's distracting me. Nothing you can help with, honey. Go back to sleep. Sorry to disturb you. She gently stroked my hair. It's okay, Mom. Love you. She sat there for several long minutes, softly caressing my head. My breathing slowed, and it wasn't until I was again on the verge of sleep that she finally stood up to leave. Sam? Her voice sounded far away. What's this on your nightstand? Sorry, Mom. It's to help Tom and Terry. That's my good boy. She bent over and kissed my forehead. It was a long beat before my brain processed what had just happened. My eyes snapped open, and I shot up in bed, a pulse of fear coursing through me. I was alone in the room. I rushed to the window, but other than 2 flashes of light confirming the brothers were still outside waiting, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The rest of the house was dark and quiet, and I carefully confirmed that my mother was asleep in her bed. Maybe it had been a dream, brought on by my overactive imagination. Maybe. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning I checked with Tom and Terry. They'd taken shifts to ensure one would always be awake, but neither had spied anything strange. I relayed what had happened, but they were dumbfounded as I was. Little did I know that would be one of the very last times I'd see the brothers. While I was outside talking to them, my mom got another phone call. I learned later that the judge she worked for at the courthouse had been taking bribes. My mom had found out and had been trying to figure out what to do about it. Ultimately, she didn't have to decide because the judge was found murdered. Rumor was his head had been chopped off. We moved from town shortly after that. My parents ended up getting divorced, but I got to see my dad regularly, and they both seemed happier for it, so that was okay. I stayed in touch with Tom and Terry through mail for a while, but eventually we fell out of contact. With the internet and social media today, I've thought many times about trying to track them down, but I haven't. I don't know if they ever managed to confront old Mum. Frankly, I'm scared to find out if they did. The world I grew up in was different, more isolated. If a judge mysteriously had his head cut off today, it would be making headlines the world over. But that was then. This is a true story. I don't much care if you believe me because I know it is in my gut. I know because ever since that night, I've made it a point to be utterly truthful in everything I've said and done, lying to no one, including myself, because I've still got the finger bone. Why she took Tom and Terry's all those years ago and left mine, I can't fathom. But if the night comes that old Mother Cleaver sneaks out from under my bed and asks me about my sins, ready to deliver her unique brand of justice, I want to be sure I answer honestly. And that is the end of the story for the legend of Old Mother Cleaver. I hope you enjoyed the story, because I did. And thank you, Shadow Swimmer 77, and I will link your story in the description. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to press the thumbs up, subscribe, and remember to click the bell icon to ensure that you're notified when new content drops. Until my next video, thank you for watching, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, quiet ones.